This is the PP that, and right here I'm on DEX tools, and this is the PRV chart that I'm looking at. And how are you guys liking this PRV chart of greens? And did you even notice that ever since I put up my video, where at that point of time it was a price of $6.48, it has made $2, in fact just over $2 of gains since then. So just check this out. It's been a phenomenal 10 days, not even 10 days. Well, it basically started to jack up on the 12th. So it's really been just a week. I mean, today is the 19th of October. And you know what? I want to draw your attention to an even more awesome discovery. When I found out in the PrivacySwap Telegram group that there was an article on CoinTelegraph, I immediately checked it out. And I've been amazed at the kind of coverage that the very first yield farming project that I ever entered was able to get this kind of coverage. So let's have a look at this article and let's go through that at the same time. So it says PrivacySwap raises 1 million, I think that's USD, from a family office bringing crypto cards to DeFi spaces. So what is that? Okay, so it says that the platform's fund has raised 1 million managed by a Wall Street veteran's family office. So I'm getting that someone who has been active on Wall Street has actually seen PrivacySwap, taken an interest to it, and invested in it. This could be the reason for the recent pump. I mean, well, I don't know if this was before or after or even during the time that I made that last video. I don't know what came first. Well, I have no idea. Maybe it could have been this green bar right there. I have no idea. So what could have possibly caught this attention of such an investor? Could it be because of the Web3 wallet Oracle? It says here institutional investors have noticed PrivacySwap and the platform has raised $1 million to assist in the global expansion of its utility, upcoming decentralized exchange, and privacy card modules. The word Oracle means an interface. Over here it says it's a multi-chain aggregator that enables Web3 wallets to connect directly to any existing card solution. This Oracle will allow you to withdraw cryptocurrency into this Oracle and out from the other end from your convenient ATM. So this will help crypto debit card providers and financial institutions like traditional banks to easily enter the DeFi space. I was on the PrivacySwap AMA just yesterday, the one that I mentioned in my previous video detailing the Great Migration. This was a screen grab that I'd taken. Over here, I'm noticing a connect to MetaMask button. So I'm assuming that it'll help to pull up, the wrapped Bitcoin, BUSD, the wrapped Ethereum, the BNB, and the PRV that's existing in your card, the current market prices, which are quite different from now, obviously, because this was probably planned some time ago. And then you can then load that to your card and click confirm. I'm assuming that this is how it works. So the blockchain industry is currently dealing with the same interoperability issues, Okay, again, this is another screen grab that I took on the AMA from that Zoom session. These are some of the upcoming supported chains. So it says Ethereum, Matic, Solana. And I think they also mentioned something like, if during the AMA, if there is a Ethereum 2.0 and if it proves to be a good and popular system, the godfather of all these DeFi platforms, that would also be something that would be introduced to this too. So I wouldn't be surprised at all. Don't forget to check out my Great Migration video. So click that thumbnail at the top right corner to find out more about it. But at the same time, if you missed that AMA and you're truly interested to find out what lies ahead, there's actually a YouTube link to the live stream of the Great Migration AMA. And I'll be putting that in the video description. And I can suggest that you may want to put that into ×2 and you can watch it over at double speed and just bring it back to one times or 1.25 times when it's the part that is of interest. So you can basically zoom into what's important. Okay, this other section here about the PRVG, the PRV2, and the DEX. Okay, I covered about the PRV2 and the PRVG, a little bit of that in my other video on the Great Migration, but obviously not to the detail of the AMA because, well, that was done before the AMA. This is something that you may want to go over to the webinar replay to check out as well. So for those of you who do not know what is PRV2 about, okay, it's an inflationary token. And they have several deflationary measures in terms of transfer taxes and sell taxes. Okay, this part is in the last part of the AMA. You can check that on the replay. And I'm sure that the team will be releasing out more information, because I remember yesterday at the AMA, when this came up to discussion, there were suddenly a lot of questions about it. And one of the things that I personally feel is that it's really good because of the mechanism. My understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, they can choose to receive PRV2 and also BUSD, or just BUSD or PRV2. And either way is great, because you see, this transfer tax, a lot of people get a little bit paranoid about this kind of transfer tax, but I think ultimately, in the greater scheme of things, it's there to really stabilize the price. How it does that is that when people are getting the BUSD, I mean, well, it's already BUSD. You don't need to swap it, so there's no tax. And subsequently, if you're getting PRV2 and you're staking that, again, there is no tax. It's kind of like helping people to go in the correct direction, because based on some of these transfer taxes that have been discussed, it only makes sense for people to stay in for a couple of days to make their time there worthwhile, so that the yield from the high APR farms will justify, at least the tax amount and then some, because everyone will want to go in and then make some money. Isn't that correct? So in the greater scheme of things, I'm quite excited to see how all these new measures and implementations will pan out into a token that is more vibrant, more stable, and at the same time able to get people kind of returns that will excite them as well. Over here, you can actually get to learn a bit about both tokens. PRV2 was just explained. Now it's talking about the PRVG. This is like the ownership token. It's kind of like having a share. With every share that you have, you get dividend. Just by having this PRVG, you can actually benefit from getting transfer taxes portioned out to you. One of the key takeaways as well, okay, is that when people were asking questions about all these transfer taxes, when people found out that these transfer taxes largely go back to you, either by going back to push up the price or by going back to the PRVG owners, it makes a lot of sense to have PRVG. In order to get PRVG, it is the best time to get in on PRV at this present moment. November 1 to 5, this is when you can swap your PRV for pre-PRV2 and pre-PRVG. Pre-sale will be going on simultaneously, and the price is already pegged. The price pegging will be just in a few days from now, so this is a good time to hurry. And on the AMA, they announced a really good pegging rate, so I think you'd be excited about that. Okay, so I took a screen grab of this as well. This is what I'm talking about, the 2.2x that you can actually look forward to getting. So, well, the time is now. Buy. Let me just skip over to this section on the privacy card. These are the different iterations of the card. For those of you who've been following the rollout procedure of the cards in the Telegram group, well, I personally have applied for mine, and I'm expecting mine to come along the way quite soon as well. So I'll be making a video on that when I get it. And here's a listing of some of the digital assets that will be accepted at the launch, okay, for this card. So earlier I flashed a slide on this as the loading tokens for the card. In closing, let's talk about why PRV and why now. Personally, I see that this is definitely a breakthrough. Okay. Secondly, just look at the headlines. BTC has just crossed 63. When BTC crossed 60, when BTC crossed 60, people are wondering, okay, is 60 going to be a psychological level? And then people thought, oh, 61 is just going to overrun by a bit, and then it's going to be a correction. But now it's past 63. So what's the next logical target? 70. So the whole entire crypto market is going to be bullish for the immediate period of time. And who knows, the momentum could carry over to 80, because the next logical thing is to challenge the previous high. We look into the reason for that. Bitcoin ETF launches, like finally. Not too long ago, there's also news about a US senator. The headline was something like, why this US Senator's 100K BTC purchase could be one of the most significant in history. And then we also know that the market has become very numb to all the FUD. There's been a Twitter tweet that people are just making fun of 2017 September news where China was trying to FUD about this banning Bitcoin mining thing. And 4 years later, the article is still being repeated in a different version, slightly different wording again. And let's not forget about El Salvador. Right now, the Shivo platform has become the most popular financial system in El Salvador at this point of time. Even though day one there's so many hiccups, but now it's thriving. And finally, when we think of the price pegging, we think of what's there to gain. And if anything at all, let's just make a comparison, okay? Would you agree with me that earlier this year, there's so many projects that launch on the BSC Smart Chain, and many people made a lot of money, and I'm sure that developers made a lot of money as well. This is the Goose DeFi. We all can see that it went to such a high price, 165. And what is it now? 0.38. I'm here at the site right now. The TVL is 7.3 million. That's pretty good. But if I look into the farms, I noticed that the native, there's actually not that much liquidity because more people, obviously, they want security and they very much rather, they stick the bulk into the stable coins. Makes sense, right? I mean, the payout may be bad, but it makes sense because of the security of that. But that brings me back to the PRV chart. We all seen how low it went. This team, they could have left this project and it would have been a fairly normal thing to do. Like most other projects, well, they're still running. The farms are still running. They still have their exchange going on. They still have their DEX going on. But everything else is pretty much standstill. These guys did not give up. And we're seeing a powerful resurgence as we speak. Okay, that's enough from me. Check out my other video on the Great Migration and also check out the AMA replay. All in the video description as well. This is PP Dad signing off.